Hey, Jamie Salinas here. Welcome back to the channel, Art of Magic. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you about a product that I use that I love in my shows. So that's right, it's time for you to get out those credit cards. You're going to spend some money because if you don't already have this product, you're going to want to buy it. What is it? Well, stick around for another episode of That's a Good One. Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of That's a Good One. A few weeks ago, I talked about things that you carry on your person. So when you are asked to perform, then the episode was called Dance Monkey Dance, and you can check it out here if you have not seen it already. In that episode, I talk about being prepared to perform at a moment's notice. One of the things I always carry with me is my wallet, and inside my wallet, I have something that I've been carrying around for many, many years. It is a trick by Rick Lax. It is called To Do Voodoo. That's right, To Do Voodoo. And the effect is very simple. You have in your wallet a list. Now I'm just going to show this to you briefly. It's a to-do list. It has a lot of things on it like call my mom, take out the trash, do the laundry, many different items. What you basically do is have somebody think of a number between 1 and 10, since the list is numbered from 1 to 10. They look at the list, they find their number, they read what it says to themselves, and without any fishing, no fumbling, you're able to tell them exactly what they're thinking. You don't believe me? Really? Well, I happen to have a full performance video. So if you click on the link over here, the card, and also in the show notes, there's going to be a link to a full performance several years ago that I actually performed at a paid event. So check out the full performance, pause this video, open up another window, check that one out, then come back and we'll talk about this some more. No, really, I'll wait. Go check it out. Yes, really. And welcome back. Welcome back. For those of you who did not leave, thanks for sticking around. But let me just basically tell you what this basically entails. You have a list, a handwritten list that you're going to write yourself, and you keep this in your wallet, and you're able to perform this again at a moment's notice. So it's always kept inside my wallet, in my pocket, and basically you can have two different people actually think of a number, and each spectator, whatever their thought is, you will be able to reveal their chosen thought. Now the principle is very simple, it's very easy, and if you'd like my touch on it, I did make one slight variation. If you watch the performance video, you might actually see that little variation that I added to the effect. If you buy it, you'll kind of figure out what my contribution to the effect is. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, leave me a message in the comments below. You can also send me an email. That's my email address right there. So send me an email. I'll be more than happy to correspond with you. And in fact, give me a call. I'm easy to track down. So again, this is something really simple you carry in your wallet. Now, I will tell you a couple of pointers, some tips for this routine. I went ahead and actually hand wrote my notes. I hand wrote my to-do list on an index card. If you look at this as a 3x5 standard blank index card, I hand wrote my list. And then what I did was I scanned it. I scanned it in the computer, and then now I'm able to print these out. So at a moment's notice, when these wear out, I just stick a few index cards in my printer, run it through, and I print these notes out. It comes out really, really well, and that way I keep them in my wallet. They're very consistent looking, and basically it's really, really simple to keep up with that. So again, hopefully you got a chance to take a look at the full performance video, and then you'll see how powerful this is. Anytime, anywhere, any place, two different people think of one of the objects on your list, and you're able to tell them exactly what they're thinking. Now the download, it'll cost you less than $10. That's right, $10. So if you go to penguinmagic.com, and I'll put a link in the description below where you can actually go out and buy it. Now again, these episodes of That's a Good One, I make absolutely no money on any of the products that I'm recommending or talking about on this program. So no affiliation. This is something I truly carry each and every day, and it's something I perform pretty often. My good friend Scott Wells had reminded me about how great the effect was when he told me that he had Rick Lax himself on an upcoming podcast, and how they mentioned how much I love the Trek to Do Voodoo. So again, if you get a chance, make sure you go down, check out the original routine, the demo video from Rick. You can see my full performance video, link below, and then I think you're going to be sold on it. It's great minimalism, great pack small, plays big. I've done this in a parlor, living room situation, strolling close up. You can do it for a pretty good sized stand-up show. Now, it is only a 1 in 10 guess or a list, so you're able to figure out. So the odds are not spectacular, but it's a nice way to lead into something that has a lot more odds, or something where it's increasing. A nice way to progress from one thing to another. If you are new to the channel, what I like to do on a weekly basis, go back and read some of the comments from the previous week and keep the discussion going. Now, last week I gave you tips on being a better strolling magician, and we had some input. Rick from Texas, and I believe this is going to be Rick Abear, a really good friend of mine. He says, when scheduling the event, have the planner tell everyone that they hired a magician, and this way they already know they know you're going to be there. That's a nice thing. I've been to some events where the host will stand up at the beginning of the cocktail event and say, "Welcome everyone, have a great time. We have a magician, Jamie Salinas. He'll be going around meeting you." So it's kind of a great way to be introduced. So I appreciate that tip there, Rick. He also says to carry some business cards, but only give them out if you are asked. And in an upcoming episode, we're going to discuss all about business cards. Another thing he says is he only accepts tips if they absolutely insist on giving a tip. And speaking of tips, that is another upcoming episode on The Art of Magic, where we'll be discussing about receiving tips. Actually, paid tips. He also states when you are done for the night and you're getting the check, he always tells the person who had hired him that he had a great time performing for their friends, coworkers, or whoever the audience may be. He makes sure to use the word entertain, because that's the main reason he's hired for. Now, Rick, it's a really good point to make sure that you mention that you had a great time entertaining the guests. Really great tips here. Scott Wells, which we just talked about, mentioned here, he gives us a tip that says, make sure your hands are clean, so no working on the car before the event, getting all the grease and grime. So you definitely want to watch your hygiene. He also talks about too much cologne, and I've seen guys spray themselves with cologne, and you definitely don't want to do that either. You don't want to arrive before you arrive and still linger after you've gone, and he makes a good point about that. Let's see, he also states another tip, that he starts in the middle of a room, and that way the audience, the people that are at the event, sees the excitement happening in the center of the room, and it kind of permeates throughout the room as he circles around and gradually works into the outer edges. So that's a really good tip from Scott Wells. Eric Stevens, great, thanks for keeping the consistency of commenting. He says, for the most part, I agree with Rick from Texas, but I have a couple of minor comments to make. Let's see. One, he also has business cards, and he will generally only give them out when the request has come up. But he believes that there might be an exception to that rule if you are performing an effect that use your business card for a reveal or some kind of information. That's a great way to get the business card involved. And if I'm not working for an agent, definitely using the back of my blank side of the business cards for effects, and that's what I do too. So great tip there, Stephen. And let's see what else does Mr. Stevens say. Oh, he says something he was taught very early on from other strolling performers. Let's see, if you were offered a tip, that a polite refusal was imperative. If said tip was offered a second time, then you basically had to accept the tip, and that's a good part about rejecting and accepting tips. And again, we're going to dive deep into that subject on an upcoming episode. Let's see. We also have a comment from Alan Arita. He says, "Great tips, Jamie. I always perform something special for the guest of honor. However, sometimes they're not the one hiring you." That's a good point. I talked about really focusing on the person who's paying you, but the guest of honor may be someone else. And that's a good tip, Alan, to make sure that you pay special attention to that special guest of honor or guests, and make sure that they are entertained as well. Remember the word, Rick? Entertained. Yes, definitely. Let's see what else he says. He says he likes to look and check himself in the mirror, the men's restroom, for checking his appearance. So again, really great idea of making sure everything is in place. You're looking good. You're ready to go. So again, if you'd like to find out more about those tips I discussed and have not seen that episode, please go back and check out that episode from the past. Now, I do want to apologize. This is the first week that I have not gotten the video out on a Monday. Well, it turns out it was a very busy weekend for me, a lot of performances. And then on Monday, I actually performed at a school. And on an upcoming episode of Art of Magic, we're going to discuss some things about performing magic for children at schools. So that's another upcoming episode. So I hope you stick around and find out about that. So how do you find out about these episodes? Well, it's simple. Just click on the subscribe button down below and click on the little bell icon. That'll let you know when the episodes have been released. Also, I'd like for you to participate by leaving a comment, and again, we'll get that interaction going. So I hope you guys get a chance to try out To Do Voodoo. If you do buy it, if you already own it, tell me what you think about it. How has your experiences been? I really want to know. So leave me a comment, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.